Hello! Welcome back to Starlight Talks, or welcome if it's your first time. I'm here with my twin sister, Lillian Carrier.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about friendship because I've seen a lot of this topic being discussed. So we're going to talk about it because we got some information. So Lillian's here, my guest this week. Maeve couldn't make it for reasons. We're rescheduling. So you will see Maeve and she'll talk about everything's going to be okay in the future. But go check out all of their social media and follow them so that Freeform knows we all want this show. Secondly, go check out OurTism.com. It's a beautifully done website because we just redid it. We've got the blog up there and support group tomorrow. So register for support group. We'll see you there. Also, your free consultation for Life Map. Go do that. It's free. Why not? See if you want to do that. It's really awesome. We love it. Yeah. Okay, do that. Also, come back next week. Who knows what we're talking about next week because I have nothing scheduled. But I will be on Starlight Talk next week. Every week I do my live stream. Wednesdays, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. If you live somewhere else, it might be Thursday. I don't know. But always at this time and for an hour, I talk about something related to autism. This week, I am joined by my twin sister, in case you're wondering if we were the same person. I don't know how to edit that into a live stream, but I guess that's possible. This is my twin sister, Lillian Carrier. Leave questions. Please leave questions. We will get to as many as we possibly can. Speaking of which, you should probably pull up the live stream so we make sure we see all of your wonderful questions. So we're going to talk about friendship this week. It's something I've been asked about. Do people on the spectrum prefer to hang out with other people on the spectrum, or do they prefer to hang out with neurotypicals? All those kind of things. Because I know there's also a stigma that those of us on the spectrum don't need as much relationship and social interaction as other people. That's not true. We do need it, and so I know it can be concerning when you see someone who's not socializing the way you expect them to, whether that be not going out and meeting people or whether it be interacting with people in a way you don't quite understand. So we're going to get into all of that and share some wonderfully embarrassing stories. So also share your stories. We all want to hear it, how many failures you've had in the friendship area. So starting out, we weren't diagnosed till we were 16. So we didn't know about our deficits, I guess, until later on, or why we had certain challenges. So one thing I learned about the spectrum is we do not see rules the way neurotypicals do, and so there's a lot of societal standards that we didn't understand innately, and one of them being gender. So in elementary school, you'll see a lot of those on the spectrum making friends outside their gender, which isn't normal at that age for the neurotypicals. So you'll see typically those who are female with more male friends, or those male with more female friends. Don't know why that is, but it's pretty cool, I think. My sister ended up having more of the guy friends, and I had more of the girlfriends. Don't know why that is, but it still happens today, where she finds more guy friends, I find more friends who are girls. And then we share them. because our lives intermingle so much. So we've helped each other out in that friendship area a lot. Oh, look at all those responses. Guys, leave comments that you're watching. So where should we begin? Hi, Dina. Thanks for watching. Hi, Corey. Hi, Mom. So let's see. What's a good story to start with? Well, I know starting with play at a young age, there's something we do where we'll copy or mimic the play, but on the outskirts of it, where like you'll see girls playing with their dolls, and those on the spectrum, instead of playing with the doll, they'll set up the furniture in the dollhouse and then take it down and put it back together, or lining things up in category. And so it looks like we're playing with our dolls, but we're like on the outskirts of it. I don't know. Yeah. There's a term for that. I forget what it is. So you'll see that even in games. So like we're playing tag, and someone will be like, "Oh, I want to be the coach," or "I want to be the referee." You know. So, and normally that is the autistic person. So a lot of autism people take these observant positions, so they can watch everything and observe it and analyze it, because they don't really understand how to interact, and so that's their way of interacting. I know I did stuff like that a lot. I know, like, I had different rules for myself. Like we played tag, this form of free tag, and I didn't like being chased, so I just decided I was going to be it the entire time. And my friends were cool with that. We would break different rules like that. We're like, you know what, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to tell you. Where I would do things like, oh, I want to go kick the ball around, and all my friends wouldn't want to, so I'm like, okay, bye, and I go kick the ball around by myself. So it looked like I was being antisocial when I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I kind of forgot that lesson, and I'm trying to remember to do that. You know, if no one else wants to do it, I'm going to do it by myself, because it's still fun. But you'll see a lot of those kind of decisions, and parents or teachers get worried about that. And it's just that person's way of figuring out the social world, because it's so complicated, you know?
Yeah, and we were more likely to play games that were very structured. If there wasn't a structured game, often we would opt out of doing it. When it was just free play and there was a million choices, we often found like a small corner to hide, or found like a super established game, rather than jumping around and doing the random things that just we couldn't process fast enough and make sense of.
For sure, structure really helped. Like walking into a space where you knew exactly what you're supposed to do, rather than a party where there's like everyone's gathered in different corners. You're like, ooh, where do I go? Who do I talk to? What am I supposed to do? Or when you walk in and everyone's playing a game, you're like, okay, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to go on this team, and I'm supposed to do that, you know. And you follow the rules, you know what to talk about. That's so much more comfortable. Which is why those on the spectrum, like board games or video games or books, or like, you know, these different topics that are easy to navigate.
I think in elementary school, like tetherball was a big one for us, because you could just stand in that line and then go in and do that quick game, and it was all focused around there, but you could have your small chit chat, and it was very structured, very oriented, where you could understand, and it wasn't contact. Like you touched the ball and nothing else. Yeah. And then if you didn't actually want to like keep playing, you could just let the other person win and get back in line and just play in the line again. Right? It was a really good structured game to hang out with people.
And then, as we got older, communication got even more complicated because children are pretty direct. But as you get older, for some reason, the neurotypical world likes to not be so direct and beat around the bush and not say what they mean. And it gets complicated with, body language and facial expression, tone of voice. So many different levels to it, where and jokes and all these different figures of speech. So that gets harder and harder to navigate for those of us on the spectrum. Okay, we got a question. Do you prefer to go over to a friend's house with other friends or have them come to your house? I think coming to my house is actually more vulnerable for me because I'm going to be completely myself at my house because that's where I'm most comfortable. And so inviting someone to my space, I think, is a big deal. And so putting myself out there in that way and getting rejected can be hard. Where I think going over to someone else's house, if I can find a way to get there, I think it's a lot easier. But I don't get invited at all. Taking the initiative for a lot of people to do that is a lot of work. And so I find I'm the one mostly inviting people or say, but it's worth putting in effort because my friends have a lot going on. I found that I've become friends with people who have a lot going on in their life because I connect to people that, have more struggles than the average person because I have more struggles. And we can see, how difficult life can be, where it's harder for people who talk more surface level. If they don't show that they've, their vulnerabilities and everything, it's hard for me to do that small talk and everything.
Yes, I think I find it a little easier than you to do small talk. You get so irritated sometimes. I don't like just it. You're like, stop! No. She points it out sometimes. Why are we talking about this? This is unimportant.
Yeah. I'm not going to talk about it. I will not talk about the weather.
It's not comfortable for someone on the spectrum where it seems to be a more comfortable place for neurotypicals to start from. It's very uncomfortable for someone on the spectrum to talk small talk. We could talk interests, but I don't think that's small talk. But if we share our interests, we can talk about that for a while, rather than going into something super deep. But yeah, small talk is not a comfortable thing to do.
For me, doing socializing takes so much energy that if you're not going to talk about real stuff with me, I don't need to waste my energy, my friends get real with me and I get real with them real fast. And those are the people I like to hang out with. I don't really like to hang out with people who small talk. That's your thing. I can't do it. I have boundaries and that's it. You can ask me any question about anything except for the weather.
I would ask her about the weather in New York just because it's so different from California. She wouldn't answer the question.
No.
But I was actually curious. It wasn't small talk to me. How cold is it? Tell me. You
can look it up.
Be quiet.
It's right there on the internet. How cold is it in New York? Look it up. It's right there. You see me wearing a jacket? So I would ask, how do people on the spectrum make friends? And then you can answer that.
Common interests.
Yeah,
Just
say it again.
Common interests is just like everyone else. You find someone with the same interests or similar interests, and you discuss that.
Are those on the spectrum going to make friends with everyone else on the spectrum?
No. It's like saying someone with brown hair should be friends with someone with brown hair.
So how do you make friends?
Common interests.
So yeah, you know how we're known for having a special interest? Go find other people who also have that special interest. You can make friends with them real quick. Got a lot of notifications. I guess people are watching the video. Yeah, so my interests are film and art and those kind of things. And so when I go out and I talk to people, those are things to talk about. And I find people who like those things too. You know? And I like people who are real and talk about the stuff going on in their life. And so who are comfortable sharing with that. And I share that with them. Okay. That's how I made friends.
And Chloe makes it very obvious what her interests are. She wears like the yellow.
You want to talk about Harry Potter?
She wears like Harry Potter. She'll wear like a necklace with a book on it or with a little character on it.
Hufflepuff.
She has like backpack with TV shows she watches. She has pins all over it with different things. Right? There's always something that you could see on her that you can talk about. Yeah. That makes it easy to start that conversation of common interest.
I think it's really cool. I'll see someone, wearing a dog t-shirt, I'll be like, I like that show. Cool. Good way to meet people. They like that.
Yep.
It makes me happy when people say that to me. Ooh. Hufflepuff. I like Hufflepuff. Us Hufflepuff find each other too. We're rare. We're not afraid to approach each other and be like, ooh, I'm also a Hufflepuff. People are like, think us Hufflepuff.
Benji,
don't interact. We're very social. We are. We're not scared. But I like everyone, all the houses. Anyway, enough about Harry Potter.
So we reached middle school.
We reached middle school. What happens in middle school?
So in middle school is when relationships start getting more complicated, and there's no longer like games and stuff that help your interaction, and it becomes like you're literally sitting at a table talking or in class talking, and it becomes a lot harder for someone on the spectrum to connect with people because that structure is no longer there. Those rules all of a sudden change, and a lot of us aren't ready for it. No one's talked to us or prepared us for it, that for some reason the neurotypical just understand how to do that and are ready for that transition. But being on the spectrum, a lot of us are not ready for this, and it's a really hard transition to figure out how to socialize in that way.
For sure. Yeah. I remember having a couple groups of friends forever. So from elementary school all the way through high school, I always had different groups I could go to. So we'd have like a bigger group, we all hang out with, and then I'd have my core friends in the group, and we would sit separately if we needed to talk about more vulnerable things and in quieter spots. And then we could go to a big group if we want to hang out with everybody, and then I knew people in different groups. I was a floater. And so I would go up to like anyone and be like, hello, and sit with them, and they're pretty cool with that. I know they weren't really cool with you doing that.
No, I tried, and it didn't work out so much.
I don't know what the difference was, but there was a difference.
Yeah, I couldn't float around. People were very uncomfortable with it, and I didn't understand the difference between like theater friends and soccer friends and math class friends, that like you don't interact outside of
you
those
had more
things.
groups like that where I was like in the art stuff,
Yeah.
you know, like the traditional art, like drawing and painting, and they didn't really do that as much.
No, but like I would try to hang out with those people outside those things, and they're like, no, you're my theater friend. We only hang out in theater. I'm like, why? What? I thought we were friends. Like, is this not a genuine relationship? No, it's a genuine relationship, but only in theater. And I didn't know how to handle that. And it was really difficult for me to figure out. And I definitely broke those rules all the time. You could never figure out what a genuine friend and what a theater friend and a math class friend was, and like where those boundaries were and why people wouldn't let me break them.
Yeah, and I think my biggest challenge has been I have like one friend from this place, one friend from that place, and I've tried to bring them together so we can hang out, you know, multiple people at once, and they don't really like to meet each other.
No.
So luckily for my birthday, they were all pretty civil, and that was nice. We had like 7 people from all from different groups in one place, and they were excited to meet each other for the first time. That was really cool. It doesn't happen a lot.
No, it doesn't.
So that was nice. Yeah, I found that I go to a group and I'll find like maybe 1 or 2 people who I really connect with in that group, and I collect people like that. And it's been interesting because I transferred around a lot, that the people I thought would stick with me are not the people who ended up doing that. Where like I had some really, really close friends at the college, the first college I went to, and they haven't really stayed connected with me as much as some other people who I was just acquaintances with. And then when I left, they connected with me, and we've been talking all the time since I left. And that we're really closer than when I was at the school, and the people I was really close to at the school weren't as close. And that's been like almost a trend throughout a lot of the schools and programs I've been in, which is, you know, I don't know how to feel about that, but you know, I think when you're tested like that, you see who your true friends are and who really cared, and it's not always what you expect. Sometimes it is, you know. Y'all met Alex. We've been friends for 10 years. You go back and watch ADD and the PTSD episode. She's my best friend since middle school. And I think I shared that story about how we became friends. That was pretty crazy. So it's not always what you expect, and just being open-minded about people, I think, is important. Those of us on the spectrum tend to go outside our gender for friends, outside the normal age range, outside the normal location range, all those things, and that's all okay. Like, whoever you're friends with, as long as they're genuine, and because if you can't tell who a genuine friend is, find someone who can tell who your genuine friend is. I would recommend that being someone in your support system, because it's really important you hang out with the right people. And it doesn't matter their age, it doesn't matter their gender. Obviously, if you're like 12, do not be hanging out with 30-year-olds. That's not appropriate. But like as you get older, it's okay to go, you know, outside your age range. Because I always had, you know, friends in older grades and younger grades, and that wasn't always the case for a lot of people. And I know some parents get scared about that, but it's okay. As long as you're doing it. Why did it turn red? What just happened? I don't know. Did you find it easier to accept your social styles after your diagnosis? I would say the thing that made it easiest after the diagnosis is that I realized all the sensory stuff made it really difficult to hang out and meet people in sensory-filled environments, which meant when there was a lot of people around. So I'm really good one-on-one because I can listen better and respond better, and I get selectively mute at parties that are too big, even my own parties. So I found it easier when I knew that I could then set up situations to my benefit where I could talk to people, in smaller groups. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to lunch, and I would text a few people from my class, hey, I'm going to lunch, you want to come hang out? And whoever showed up, I'd go talk to them, rather than right after class where everyone's all huddled up, because I wouldn't be able to get a word in. But I also found being the quiet person, people will seek you out because they think you're really cute. So like, oh, you're the quiet person, I want to know your story. So, and those people are usually really fun.
I'm the person that seeks out those people.
We're really fun too, right?
Yeah, so much fun. I love those quiet people. They always have so much fun, and when they open up, they're usually crazy. And they're so much fun to be friends with.
I have a type of friend. Their name is Alex, but she has a type of friend. It's just quiet people who are crazy. So I hope that sort of answers your question. But yeah, a diagnosis will help. If you understand yourself, which a diagnosis helped you to, you will understand friendship better. Just like with romantic situations, if you love yourself and you have confidence in yourself, you have confidence in friendship situations. Until you are able to be balanced, you don't have the capacity to make friends. So like starting there, I mean, you'll always have a need to meet that you will have that social need, even if you're not in a healthy state of mind. But in order to make friends, you need to be in a healthy state of mind. Otherwise, you're not going to attract the right people. Guaranteed. So that should be step one, is mental health. And then step two is friendship, romance, anything outside of that. And then hopefully the next time you're in a bad mental health place, you have people who can help. That's the goal. Are you and Lillian friends? For sure.
100%.
Yes, Abby. We are great friends.
Yeah, we support each other in a lot of ways, and like,
I mean, I don't know how we would survive if we weren't friends.
Yeah,
my dog.
We struggle.
He's also my friend.
Where we struggle, the other one seems to thrive. So we really help each other in both social situations and in regular life. So it helps that we are friends.
We help each other socially too, because you have days where you're not at capacity, so you help each other out. You know what? Right now, Chloe isn't able to talk as much, and I'm gonna talk for her. I know what you're saying. We've known each other for 22 years. Before, when we were in the womb, we knew each other. So I know what she's gonna say. Doesn't always know what I'm gonna say, but she says it, and that's what counts.
Usually you just nod and go, yeah, sure, that's what I will say. Yeah, I always ask, like, is that what you would say? She just nods.
I'm too polite.
Rather than going, no.
Oh, what was that thing that Mom said that made me laugh so hard? She was like, when you were little, I would get so mad when someone was mean to you, Chloe, because you were just the nicest person ever. Like, I get why they'd be mean to Lillian, but they were mean to you. And Lillian was like, yeah, that's so true.
It's accurate.
Is Jax hyperallergenic? Oh no.
No.
Jax is our little crazy dog. He's outside right now. He's so cute. Anyway, yeah, dogs are great friends. I had a lot of animal friends when I couldn't connect with people. They're great. They're very loyal. You can tell them anything. They're really good at keeping secrets. They're great. Let's see. Should we go on to high school? Or did you have more? If you have questions about middle school, leave them. We'll get to that. So high school. We already had a lot of friends from middle school, but a lot of them moved away, went to different schools, And then I don't think I made many friends in high school, actually, because there's a lot going on, and it was a lot of the same people. I reconnected with old friends in high school. I remember that. Yeah, it's like everyone's already pretty set in their friendship group. That's probably the hardest age to make a friend, because everyone's already set in who they want to hang out with.
Well, I actually made a lot of friends in high school. I think around 11th grade. I was at a really, really tiny school, and there was this huge transition moment where like all of the friend groups broke apart and then recombined with different people, because drama stuff happened and boyfriend girlfriends and whatnot, and all of a sudden friends are no longer friends anymore. And so I didn't have that so much happen with as many of my friends, just one of them. But I was able to take advantage of that and make friends with people who I previously couldn't make friends with. Not a lot of them have stuck around since after high school. They ended up just being convenient friends.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
I enjoyed hanging out with them while I was in high school, and they definitely made things more enjoyable. I think
high school you just gotta get through, you know?
High school is like when like real emotions and drama. Benji, quiet! And drama starts happening where you like thought there was that before, but there wasn't. So that's just managing that and figuring out how to deal with those sort of things. Mm-hmm. And I think even with a neurotypical, that's a difficult transition. And high school is just tough for everyone, both socially and academically.
Yeah, but I found at college age, especially around like 19, 20, I made the most friends and reconnected genuinely with a lot of old friends. Like that age was where it all came together. And people really wanted to hang out with me because they realized that I was a genuine friend, and like people started to figure out, what the difference between a surface level friend and a real friend was, and people were more drawn to hang out with me than before. Mm-hmm. I think that's where it really came together for us, was really after high school, because you just realize what life is and get through it with the people that matter. Because you gotta figure it out by that age. So I think my 18th birthday was the biggest party I had. That was pretty crazy. Like everyone came to that. I was really surprised. I was like, nobody's gonna show up, and everyone showed up.
Crazy.
Our family is not neurotypical. My son, he has lots of friends at age 9, but when the day is over, he says he hates school and doesn't ever want to go back. Do you suspect this is him being overstimulated and exhausted? Oh yeah. School is rough.
And not just about socially, that you could have a million friends and be super happy and have true genuine friends, but on the spectrum, school is a very difficult thing. to handle,
Yeah.
especially because it's 8 hours a day.
Yeah, it's overstimulating with no breaks. It's emotionally exhausting. And then if you look up reward and punishment, that is how the school system works. And that's super, super exhausting because you never feel fulfilled with that type of system. And the more you do it, the more exhausting it gets. So if you look up red line, blue line, that'll tell you it by Asperger experts. That'll tell you how to get away from the reward and punishment system. But yeah, ABA and reward and punishment is how school works, and it's super hard on your mental health, super hard on anyone who is not neurotypical, because you just don't understand fully what's going on. Like the rules start not making sense, and the things you only start getting half of the instructions, and it's overstimulating, and the transitions are really hard, going from one subject quickly to another, going from rigorous class to a chaotic break, which isn't actually a break from anything. It's so crazy. So yeah, by the time you get home, that you're emotionally spent, exhausted, overstimulated, probably in pain, probably hungry, probably thirsty, probably tired. You know, everything just like, I need to let this all out, you know? So yeah, school can be hectic for someone on the spectrum. If I were to do school over again, I would have done homeschool for sure. It's a lot. So yeah, and normally it's around age 9 to 13 where you'll start to see like deep overloads and meltdowns. And that's where a lot of diagnosis happens, especially with females or males that were not caught early enough. You'll see a lot there, and then you'll see a lot around age 19 to 20, and then age 40. So like all like life changes, you'll see more and more diagnoses because it's a lot to deal with. Academics are easy for him. He was bored. He says it's a prison. Yeah, so I didn't understand in elementary school what tests were for. They were fucking boring. So, yeah. So I would just answer the questions randomly. Yeah. So I didn't do well and didn't understand why, and then I redid them and got really good grades, but I was bored. So I read a lot in class. Yeah, so the learning is so fun, but school doesn't like to teach it in a fun way. I was actually recently looking into LARPing because I heard that schools thinking about, or people are thinking about bringing it to school. School's not obviously not thinking about doing that because that's a lot of work. But and so like things like that would be really cool. If you don't know what LARPing is, it's live action role playing where you create a character and you interact in a game. And so there's historical games where you can go back in time and do something like, oh, I'm a native in a tribe, or oh, I'm a pioneer, or you know, like those kind of things. And that'd be really cool in history. And you could be like a chemist in a lab, and you know, in science, or an animal, you know, and figure out and learn things about biology, learn things about history in this really fun game where you play as a character from history, or you know. So I don't know how that would work because LARPing is it can be educational, but it's I actually meant more for adults and it's kind of mature. So there's a lot of like a fantasy stuff, but but there can be an educational aspect to it which people are thinking about bringing to kids to teach them, which I think would be really cool to do more stuff outside the box like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if every kid would be excited about that. You know, I don't know if I would have been excited about that. But
I would have been.
but like, you know, some of the kids maybe could watch, or maybe there's a different activity they could do. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things I think we should do, that school should do way more field trips and, you know, get way more involved in hands-on things and experiments, and rather than book learning. So I do think school and education can be way more fun, way more stimulating, in a way that is not overwhelming and not memorizing facts, for sure. Oh, I'm at 12. So back to the topic about friendship. So yeah, how you make friends is you have to be yourself. I really think that is important, and that's a step that people skip over, where being yourself and being genuine is important, especially if you want to find the right kind of people. So when you're comfortable being yourself, then you're not afraid of people going, you know what, I don't want to be a friend, because you know what, I don't want to be friends with everyone. You know what I said, I have a certain kind of people that I'd rather hang out with. That's true. So I know not everyone's going to want to hang out with me, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I want everyone to be polite to me, but there's, I don't know, there's a carefreeness you get when you're comfortable being yourself and comfortable with that kind of rejection. Obviously, it's harder if I want to be friends with them and they don't want to be friends with me. But it's putting yourself out there is important, and talking about things that you're interested in and things you want to talk about. I found more friends by just telling my story. You know what? This is this hard stuff I've been through. People are like, you know what? She's cool because she's so open, and I want to be friends with someone who's open. And it's okay to have fun with people who's super different than you. And I found people who, you know, I'm attracted to the people in my classes, who are in my classes, that I heard all these rumors about. And then I would go up to them and say, you know what, I heard a lot of things. Are any of them true? And they would be like, what? I didn't know this was going on. So people quickly stopped telling me rumors, because I would go straight to the source. You know what? I heard this. Is this true? So no one wanted to tell me anything else very quickly. But that's how I made my first friends, I think, was one of the girls I made friends with was someone older than me in college, who everyone was afraid of for some reason. And I went, ooh, who's that? And I went up and said hi, and I found out she had a lot of anxiety, and I was like, what? I didn't expect this from someone who people were afraid of. So yeah, we weren't really close because our interests are so different, but we like talk once in a while about, we update each other what's going on with our life. It's pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of my friends I made that way. And then they also didn't expect it, because they didn't talk a lot in class, and like I'd be sitting there just listening to everybody talk, and I got a lot of information that way about people. Be like, oh, I like that person, they talk trash. Oh, I like that person. You know, you learn more from listening than from talking. So that you can weed out a lot of people if you listen. People really will talk your ear off without you having to say much. And you get a lot of information really quickly. People just spill things. Yeah. And also, like, these were people in my major, so I was in a film major, so they were all into film, or I was in a class, creative writing where everyone was writers. So I was in arty environments that were very in the same interest I had, so I could go talk to them about my scripts and about something, and then that would lead to then us talking about our life. Today I'm having a hard time writing because this is going on in my life. And I had friends that were open with me about those things. And so we could talk about our script, or we could talk about, things going on in our life. And that's how I made friends. Like with Alex, we were in ASP together a lot, and we do a lot of homework projects together. I would obviously pick her for my project, and Lillian too. And the three of us would be sitting and working on a project, and then all of a sudden be like, you know what, this is bothering me right now, and we talk about that, and then go back to the project. And that's how a lot of my friendships worked. With that common interest would then lead to like opening up about something. Like I said, I went to visit my friend, and he wanted to play a video game, so I sat down and played a video game. And then he didn't talk about the video game. He started talking about his parents, all these other things in his life. So, getting excited about what the other person is excited about, because you're not going to share everything, but going, you know what, you're really into that. I'm going to share that with me, also brings a lot of trust. I would say, and I mean genuine interest. I don't mean like woohoo, like a fake, like genuine interest, because they're gonna talk your ear off and you can't fake that. So I think for me it's easy because I'm an empath, and so when my friends like feel something really strongly, I feel it too. So when my sister starts talking about biology, I don't always understand it all, but I'm like, oh my god, this is so exciting, tell me more. And she will still talk forever. So I think that has been the quickest way to friendship, is just getting excited about whatever someone else is excited about. It takes so much energy to have friends and keep friends. So if you don't have that energy, that's okay. You'll have it at some point, though. Just if it's not right now, that's okay. I would say, like, as at a younger age, it's a lot harder because you have like there's so much structure, and you don't know like the rules of how everything's gonna work. So like, just practice, because that's how I learned. Like through failure, it's how I learned how to make friends.
And being okay with failure, and being like comfortable with going, oh my god, apologizing and saying you didn't understand things, and being open about your struggles, it will help connect with those friends rather than just saying something and then leaving that there for someone to like just go, they're a horrible person. Why would they say that? Yeah. you have
Apologizing. Ooh, that's a lesson you need to learn. Yeah. Just saying, you know what? I'm so sorry. That is not what I meant to happen. So sorry I said that, or did that, whatever you did. That's a lesson you need to learn in friendship. And friends fight just like anyone else. Friends have nasty fights. And you gotta learn how to work it out. Yeah, that. And your true friends they'll get over the fight,
Yep.
They stick around. I can't remember the last time I fought with a friend. I probably did. I forget those things really quickly. I'm very forgiving. So we got a question. I'm not neurotypical either. Can you imagine being a mom who is on the spectrum teaching you? It seems like it may be too great yet hectic. So I think we're going back to school. I would not let my mom teach me.
Mm-mm. But if you're talking about homeschooling, there's other options beyond parents teaching the kid. Okay, that's not necessarily all homeschool is. I was homeschooled, and I had someone who came in and taught me.
Yeah, and I know there's homeschool groups now. There's unschool groups where
there's online
Yeah.
schooling. So there's a lot of options, and you can look into what sort of things people will fund, if you can get help with that.
Mhm.
So yeah, look into other options. I don't think parents necessarily teaching their kids is the best way. They do need someone outside of a parent. So if you can find other options, that would probably be better. But having a teacher who's on the spectrum or off the spectrum, I don't think it really matters as long as they're a good teacher, right? And you can have someone you can connect with, and you want to be around. I think is always the
learning thing. Is really vulnerable. So the right person is important because you need to trust that you'll feel okay to fail, because you will. Especially if it's a small group like that. I took a one-on-one ASL class, and I had a teacher I loved in the first semester and a teacher I did not love so much in the second semester, and you could see the change in effort happen.
And there is ways to like teach yourself things that you don't necessarily always need a teacher. Well, I do think homeschooling there should be someone. There are subjects that individuals could probably teach themselves.
Yeah, and I know there's groups that'll say, oh, I'm taking my homeschool person on this field trip. I'll take a bunch of other kids too. So you can join other homeschool groups and like create a Facebook page or like friends, and like so you go, okay, once a week we're gonna do a trip, or once a month we're gonna do a trip here. Let's decide where. And like there's a lot of things like that I know that are happening that are really, really cool. So you can start doing things outside the box and with other people.
And depending on where you live, there's a lot of like free or cheap classes. Like to go to a museum, they sometimes have like little classes there, and that can be considered a homeschooling lesson, right? To go to a museum and take whatever class, go to an art museum and take their tour. It's not necessarily a parent doing that, but if you can't find and hire someone, you can build a curriculum like that, where it's not necessarily you teaching them all the time. You have other people.
Or there's just like send them to the museum for an hour to a certain section, and then say, okay, now you have to write a report on that. I know that that's been done a lot, where like they teach themselves in a way, or they ask employees, so then they learn like these self-sufficiency skills. And there's a lot of things like that where like outside the box thinking. There's reading historical fiction, watching movies, and going, okay, what are the facts in this documentary? What are the biases? Like that kind of thing.
Yes, there's a lot of options within homeschooling.
Emily. Hi, Emily. Being open to how you experience things, then you can relate, even if they don't experience things the same way. Oh, yeah. So, not judging people and going, hey, so, friend, I don't understand why you did that. Can you explain? Before, screaming at them. I don't like that. It's very important, and you'll learn things. It's so important to learn about people's experiences, and you'll learn to be way less judgmental about things. People think so differently from each other. So is video gaming something you like to do every day?
Not currently, but it was something that I did all the time in middle school for sure. Little bit in high school, but not so much.
I did webcams, Foopets. I think I talked about this a little bit. I did some blogs on this topic. So I did like Nintendogs when I was pretty young, and then I got into writing online. And so I was on the computer. I wasn't necessarily video gaming in the traditional sense, but I was watching YouTube, and I was writing and chatting online. So I was And I do say a lot of my skills of socializing came from those things, from my screen time. I learned a lot about people from watching YouTube. There's YouTubers that I learned how they connect with people, and I watched a lot of films that broke down very simply human interaction, and then I created these anonymous characters online and interacted with people where I didn't feel so vulnerable. And we play like elves in a fantasy land trying to take down a dragon. And I learned like, oh, if I say this, everyone gets upset. And then I would take those skills and practice them in elementary school, and I learned a lot. And especially when I wasn't able to create social connections, that was how I got my need fulfilled. And so it's not as fulfilling as having someone in person, so I would need to do more of it, because the social need is needed, and video gaming can fill that need. Even if it's a fake character. I know like people watch shows like Friends because for a whole series you connect and get inside jokes with different characters, just like you could in a video game. So if you're into like Telltale, Walking Dead, or if you're into Zelda, or if you're Pokemon, you can connect with different characters, whether they're real or fictional, for a week or however long you're playing the game. Some games last forever, other games last only a few hours, but you can really connect strongly with these characters and they feel genuinely like your friend, and it fills that need, whether it's surface level or whether it's super fulfilling. Depends on you and what your need is. So yeah, I hope that answers that question. Does it phase out? My son is very bored at school, so he wants to go right to gaming to fill his void. In your experience, does this desire for screen time gaming phase out?
It doesn't phase out, but if he can fill that void with something else, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, it was like theater. Once I started really diving in, I would do plays and stuff. I didn't need that same screen time as I did in middle school, and when I reached high school and started really doing plays. Because I know in middle school I only did one play a year, so during that time I wasn't gaming every day. But when I wasn't doing a play, which was most of the year, I needed that to fill that time. That social need was there. That and I was too tired after theater and all that stuff. And then once high school came around, I was doing theater year round and plays all the time. Yeah, I was barely doing those games.
Mm-hmm. I would say so. For me, when real life became way more interesting than the online world, I left it, So still obviously online a lot because that's where my work is. I do this. But yeah, I prioritize hanging out with someone rather than, being on these devices.
And you fill that need with
especially
other things.
Not work.
Since I'm not in high school, I'm not doing plays, but I have found other ways to fill that need with socializing and talking to people.
And it could also be
different activities. So
I know it can also be an emotional regulation, where when I didn't have an outlet to let out my anger, I didn't want to go at my mom and just scream at her and punch her or whatever. So I went on the video games and created an angry character. So it can be an emotional regulation. So if you have someone who gets angry when they play video games, I wouldn't say it's the game provoking that. I would say they're angry and that's why they're playing. And they're trying to find a way to emotionally regulate. I know I did that. So it was very difficult when that was taken away because I had no other outlet to do that. Now I do. I have found other ways, but I know as kids, a lot of us emotionally regulate through a part of video gaming or screen time. There's a way, whether it's playing a violent game, playing a challenging game and screaming at the screen, or creating a character that's angry, whatever. There's so many different ways to do it. You can emotionally regulate as well through your video game. This is just part of sensory diet and having online friendship that is healthy. Online friendship, I'm all for. I met you guys. We met Danny Rading through the internet. I've met some of my guests on this show through the internet. Some of them I've met in real life, and some I haven't. I would say be safe. Safety is still important. I don't know if I've met these people, talked to them a long time, saw their actual face, video chatted with them, met other people who met them, all those kind of things, met them through a legit business, where other people it's safe, before, going face to face with anyone over the internet. I would never go on an anonymous app, because I used to do food pets. I'm not going to meet anyone through food pets. I'm not going to meet anyone through the Nintendogs. That's not safe. And if someone wants to meet you through that, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm on a space where I'm meeting people through my job and through autism and through these things, where that I feel safe meeting them. I would say, if you're talking to someone not in your age range online, that's a little bit more sketchy than meeting someone, I don't know, in life, who's in a genuine class with me, or in a genuine, a program or space, where if I'm at the library or at the movies watching Harry Potter, and I meet someone not necessarily in my age range, for them that is makes sense to me. Where if I were on an anonymous Harry Potter fandom board and someone's let's meet up, nah. No, your safety. Having online friends who you don't meet up with is also cool. I think that's the best way to learn social skills, because then if something goes wrong, you can delete your character and make another one. I think if you're looking at it that way, rather than I'm going to meet this friend and then we're going to be best friends, that's probably not so healthy, and not a realistic way of looking at an online video game friendship. I know there's some people who have made genuine friendships through that. That's just not my thing. And I don't know if that's realistic. So I would definitely look into safety. But as far as fulfilling your friendship need, it's a great tool. It's a great, great, great tool. Okay, so I'm going to start wrapping this up. I was going to say winding down. That's not the right. Wrapping this up. So if you have any last questions, please leave it about friendship, about anything autism related. Thank you all for watching. Check out OurTism.com for more information about OurTism. Check out our OurTism Facebook page. We're on Instagram. I'm going to try to keep up the YouTube page. I haven't done the last 4 or 5 episodes, so sorry. But yeah, check out YouTube. I'll hopefully put this up sometime soon. I'm going to try and update that tonight or tomorrow. Yeah, so we were talking about friendship this week. So thank you, Lillian, for coming on and being a guest.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you said some great things. So if anyone wants to see her again, I definitely have more topics for her to come on with and things she can talk lots about. So thank you guys for watching. Stay colorful. Bye.